Hello, friends, and welcome back into NBA Now. I am Tom Downey. Alongside me is Jimmy Crowther. Jimmy, are you ready for the hate?
Oh, always. Always ready for it. Bring it on.
Yeah, we're going to start off today's show with NBA Power Rankings, so feel free to call us idiots, losers, whatever in the comment section, because we know you're not going to get along with every single power ranking. That's how these things work. At number 30, the Charlotte Hornets, because they're bad.
I don't think
That's my hard-hitting hashtag analysis.
I truly don't think we're going to get a lot of hate for this one. Charlotte Hornets deserve to be here. They had a miserably bad offseason. I mean, they just did. They didn't add anybody great. Their draft picks aren't even panning out in summer league. So Charlotte Hornets in at 30, I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, Hornets check in there at 30. That's kind of a no-brainer, plain and simple. Let's move then to number 29 on our list, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, and I didn't mention this earlier. By the way, this is not based on the regular season finishes. Right. This is based more on who is most likely to actually win an NBA title.
So you're saying the Charlotte Hornets aren't likely to win the NBA title? Yes.
So you'll see some differences near the top when it comes to how our Western Conference rankings went and how the actual power rankings go. So Cavs checking in 29 because they're going to tank by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they have a smaller percentage chance, I guess, than the Hornets to win, but not by much. Didn't lose anybody, only added their draft picks, which good draft for them.
Number 28 then, the Washington Wizards. They might be a little bit of fun, but they're not going to compete.
No, they're sure not. It's going to be fun to be able to watch Isaiah Thomas hopefully actually have a regular role in the NBA again. Maybe he has a bounce back year, but all in all, Wizards aren't going to make much noise in the NBA this season.
Number 27, the Memphis Grizzlies. I like the way they're building, but they are still building and rebuilding.
Yeah, I would say 3 to 4 years from now, they're not anywhere near number 27. I think they will be pretty solid. I love what the Grizzlies did, drafting Ja Morant, drafting Brandon Clark. I think they had a really good draft, and then, of course, they had to trade away Mike Conley, but they got pieces in return for him.
Now, this is shocking news, but the Grizzlies are a bear. So very important question for you, Jimmy, and everyone watching too. Which bear is best?
Tom, I know there's only one right answer, but will you give it to me?
No, I'm going to shout out whoever puts in the best bear first.
Okay.
All right, because there is one right answer.
There is. That's why I'm not going to give
Some might
answer.
think there are two schools of thought, but there's only one correct answer here. Okay, so Fruits for Life says gummy bears.
They're not catching on yet.
I will accept that as an answer because I do love gummy bears. That's not what we're going for, though.
No, it sure isn't.
Which bear is best? Still waiting. So, Jimmy, because no one's gotten it yet, and I'm very surprised here. Someone did say Battlestar Galactica.
You got to finish this quote.
That's the correct path there. Black bear is best.
It's very
all
true.
Right? No one put black bear in there. I am all very, very disappointed in you. I expected more.
Wow.
Someone said chocolate
nobody
and brown
said black bear yet.
No one said black bear.
Chicago Bears.
God, watch The Office for once in your life. Let's move then to number 26. Finally, Angelo got it. Oklahoma City Thunder. That's bad.
Yeah, it's not good. Now, look, Chris Paul, Danilo Gallinari, Steven Adams, if you're trying to win games, they're probably going to win some. But at the end of the day, that's not going to be their core. Chris Paul probably won't be there. They're not going to win a lot of games, so you got to have them in this, lower third of the NBA.
Number 25, the Atlanta Hawks, a promising young team, but Jimmy, they're at least a year away from truly being a competitive team in the East.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Trae Young actually has a decent chance to make an All-Star team this next season in the Eastern Conference. I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch, but like you said, at least a year away.
Move then to number 24, speaking of promising young teams, the Phoenix Suns. But how many years have we said this?
How many years have they been promising? How many years can you actually just have a team full of promise?
Basically since Devin Booker showed up.
Yeah, and I mean, it still feels like he's 19 years old. He's not. I mean, what is he, 23 now, something like that? They still got a young core. They added Ricky Rubio, so I think they're actually looking to win games this next season. I'm just not convinced that this team can win games quite yet. I do love that they hired Monty Williams as their next head coach for this next season.
So Suns are 24. The Chicago Bulls are number 23. A very common theme among this group here. There are some promising teams, but they're not really contenders for the championship. More of maybe they could make a playoff push.
Yeah, I think this is a dark horse team that could make a push. The Chicago Bulls are, but a lot of things still have to go right. And you're banking a lot, I think, on Kobe White as well. But like what the Bulls are building, just got to give it time.
Bulls 23. The New York Knicks are number 22.
Yeah, whereas the other teams were young teams full of promise, this is a half young team, half mediocre free agent
bench squad
team. It's very weird what New York is doing, and you still have to have them down here. I think they can make the push for the playoffs in the Eastern Conference with what they have. I just don't like the way they're building their team.
The Minnesota Timberwolves check in at number 21. if they were in the East, I'd feel better about them maybe even being a playoff team.
Yeah,
but in the
sure.
West, it's just tough.
Yeah, they're going to get eaten alive because they didn't make any major improvements. They added Jarrett Culver, who I think is going to be great. Noah Vonleh and Jordan Bell don't move the needle in the West.
We're going to get to the top 20 here, but first I want to shout out Nathan Mark, who says Chat Sports has the best content. Could not agree more with you, Nathan. So make sure you all are subscribed for all of our content. NBA, NFL, we'll do some MLB stuff with the trade deadline wrapping up as well. So make sure you guys are subscribed. We're rapidly approaching that 130K mark there.
Yeah,
Jimmy.
I think we should hit it by the end of the show. You got to get your people on it. Get people to subscribe right now here at Chat Sports.
All right, folks, we get to the number 20 team, and that is the New Orleans Pelicans. I think people might be mad that they're so low, Jimmy.
Yeah, look.
Where did the failing ESPN have them at again?
I believe 14.
Insane.
Top half, I believe, but come on. It's too high. That's way too high. I think 20 is a proper rating for them. It's still a young team. You're going to hopefully focus most of this season on Zion Williamson, developing him, Jackson Hayes, and then grow Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. But if Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram couldn't get LeBron James into the playoffs,
exactly,
why in the world are they going to get a rookie Zion Williamson into the playoffs? I know, look, Favors, a good piece, doesn't make a huge difference in the West. JJ Redick, a good piece, but I think he has to be the right fit on the right team. I'm not 100% sure he's that for the Pelicans.
It's a promising core, but they're a year away unless Zion is just what he was at Duke right away, which even then, that probably makes them like the 8th seed.
I mean, what if he has, Luka Doncic had a great rookie season last year. If he has a Luka-type season, which he doesn't play the same position as him, does that push them in? I still don't know. I still don't know if it does.
Move to number 19 then, the Detroit Pistons. They get maybe a little mini boost because they play in the East, and that ups their chances there, but they're still maybe a borderline playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, the major addition they made this offseason was Derrick Rose, and how much of an addition is that? He was a six-man candidate last year. If he can be that, they're going to be pretty good, I think, again, borderline playoff team.
Let's move then to number 18, the Sacramento Kings. A common theme we've seen with a lot of these teams in these low teens, mid to early 20s. Good young core, they're just not there yet.
I did not like Sacramento's offseason moves that much. I like the Dwayne Dedmon signing. I didn't like how much they gave to Trevor Ariza. I don't think he has anything left in the tank. And Corey Joseph, I didn't understand because they have Fox and they have Yogi Ferrell as the 2 point guards there already. I don't really like what the Kings did. I don't think they got significantly better. I don't think they got worse. I just think they're going to stay right about where they were last year, 9 to 10 maybe in the West.
I think that's fair. Let's move to number 17 then. I'll make note here, by the way, the Magic were one of the Eastern Conference playoff teams, yet they're only 17th here in our power rankings, at least in our projected Eastern Conference playoff teams there. We like what they did, but what's the Magic's ceiling? It's not a true title contender, I don't think.
No, it's basically exactly what it was last season. Depending on how the rest of the Eastern Conference shakes up, is 7-8 seed in the East with your main all-star being Nikola Vucevic. Now, let's say Jonathan Isaac, Aaron Gordon take a couple steps forward. Maybe they make some noise, but as it sits right now, I think this is a proper ranking for them.
In our playoff projections, we had the Magic in the Eastern Conference at 17, but at number 16, the Dallas Mavericks actually didn't get in because the West is so strong, which really triggered Jimmy, by the way.
That was your playoff ranking prediction there, Tom. But look, I do think the Mavs got better. They didn't get as good as they wanted to be.
Or as they should have gotten.
Exactly. They had the potential to do a lot better this offseason. They didn't do that. Now, I think Seth Curry, DeLon Wright were two very high-quality signings that fit this team very well. Boban is maybe some nights he doesn't play at all. Some nights he plays 20 minutes. You don't know what you're going to get out of him. So you're hoping Porzingis is fully healthy, and if that happens, I think right around this 15-16 mark is good for the Mavs.
I'd feel a lot better if they were an Eastern Conference team, but they're just not. They play in the very, very difficult West there. Giveaway for you guys from our friends over at MyBookie. Go sign up and deposit at chatsports.com/NBA now. Use that promo code ChatNBA. After you place your first bet, we'll hook you guys up with an NBA jersey. All those players switch teams this year. Anthony Davis switched squads, and that's going to be a collector's item because he'll probably only wear that new number for 1 year once LeBron finally does switch it away. So email promo at chatsports.com. Once you guys sign up and deposit at chatsports.com/NBA now using promo code ChatNBA, and once you place your first bet, we'll hook you up with an NBA jersey. By the way, not one of those knockoff ones.
No, none of that.
Legit official NBA jersey. You're not going to find a better deal out there. Let's move on to number 15, the San Antonio Spurs. Look, they haven't missed the playoffs since the 1996-97 season, a.k.a. the year Greg Popovich was the interim head coach.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
I personally was going back and forth on this ranking for 15. I think I might have had them a little bit lower here. I think there's a good chance that the Spurs could end up missing the playoffs at the end of the day for the first time since 96-97. Now, they thought they had Marcus Morris. Didn't work. So they recovered with Trey Lyles, and they have DeMarre Carroll, who they lost Davis Bertans, who's a great three-point shooter. The Spurs are kind of a big question mark. Are they sellers at the deadline by trying to sell away DeMar and LaMarcus Aldridge?
I don't know what they are. Yeah.
I think their ceiling is an 8 seed, 7 seed in the Western Conference this year.
I will continue to put my faith in Popovich, though.
That's fair.
Because he hasn't proven us wrong so far, except for Kawhi Leonard. All right, speaking of Kawhi, number 14 here, as we get to a little run of Eastern Conference teams, the Raptors, who lost Kawhi and Danny Green, replaced them with Rondae Hollis Jefferson and Stanley Johnson.
Yeah, rough offseason, obviously, for the Raptors, but when you have a championship ring to comfort you, I guess it makes it a little bit better if you're a fan.
Yeah, it's still worth it.
But going into next season, I mean, they still have, Lowry, All-Star. Marc Gasol turned out to be a really good player for him after the trade deadline. Pascal Siakam, we expect to take another big step forward, even though he already won Most Improved Player. Serge Ibaka is a good player off the bench. I like Fred VanVleet. I think they think Chris Boucher is going to have a big season for them off the bench in his second year in the NBA. So we'll see what the Raptors actually are. But being the world champions, you can't have them lower than the top half.
And they're still probably going to be a playoff team, but there is we haven't really gotten, I think, to the true title contenders quite yet.
No, not at all.
And the same is true with the Miami Heat. Yes, they'll be a playoff team with Jimmy Butler, but sorry, producer Tad, they're not going to be a championship threat.
No, they're really not, unless they add a second piece. And that second piece is not Chris Paul. I'm sorry, but Chris Paul does not push them into title contention by any means. I love the addition of Jimmy Butler. I think they are building in the right direction. But you kind of have to accelerate this build because Jimmy Butler is 30 years old. So you got to get pieces around him as quick as possible so that you can make a push for the NBA Finals.
All right, so the Heat are 13. Let's move then to number 12. I think there's a bit of a gap here between 12 and 13. A couple teams fit in this category of if everything goes exactly right, which is a bit of a long shot, I could see them making a run at least the NBA Finals.
Yeah. I think the Brooklyn Nets definitely have a good chance to make it at least to the Eastern Conference Finals. Also assuming Kevin Durant comes back for the NBA playoffs, which who knows if that will actually happen. This is a gritty team. They made a lot of good moves, obviously replacing D'Angelo with Kyrie. They brought in DeAndre Jordan to kind of up that bench. Wilson Chandler, I actually like that pickup a little bit as well. I like what the Nets have, but like you said, a lot of stuff has to actually click for this to be a conference finals contending team. Kyrie's got to remain drama-free, and who knows if that can happen.
With the additions of Prince and DeAndre Jordan and most importantly Kyrie Irving, they'll be a better team than they were last year when they went 42-40.
Right.
But until Durant gets back, I don't consider them a legitimate NBA Finals contender at the same level of other Eastern Conference teams.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but I like this ranking for them at number 12.
Let's move then to number 11, the team that everybody thought was going to win the Eastern Conference, at least most people thought was going to win the Eastern Conference last year, the Boston Celtics, which it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. You can almost make the argument that they have a better chance this season than last season, but I don't think that's actually true. But look, replacing Al Horford and Kyrie with Kemba Walker and Enes Kanter, that's a pretty darn good recovery. On paper, no, Kemba's not better than Kyrie. I guess his numbers actually are better, but because he was on a bad team, they were inflated. But with the chemistry, Kemba might actually make some more sense for this team. And then if Gordon Hayward returns to Utah Jazz Gordon Hayward, Boston's going to be pretty darn good again.
That was the big if for me in terms of Boston, why they're not in the top 10. I loved the Gordon Hayward signing. I love him as a player, but he was not the same guy that he was last year.
No.
If he returns to Utah form, okay, that's a big step. If Jason Tatum returns to 2 years ago playoff form, okay. If Jaylen Brown improves, they should be in the top 10. But those are a lot of ifs altogether.
Huge ifs, yeah.
All right, so Boston, I think, is an acceptable answer to this question. But who is your dark horse NBA team this year? And I think this is really based more around of championship contender. I do like Boston in that fit because they were everyone's pick last year. The popular pick is maybe the word I should use there. Didn't happen. This is the bounce back year for them.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick for title contender, sleeper title contender. Mine's going to be Utah.
Okay.
Which we'll get to just a little bit here as a teaser for you guys. If I had to do a playoff dark horse, I'm going to say Atlanta in the Eastern Conference might make a late push. But Dark horse is the key word.
Shout out some teams here: Warriors, Utah, Celtics, Blazers, Heat. Someone said Lakers. I don't think they count as a dark horse. They're way too popular there. Celtics. Cameron Millard says Pacers, by the way, and so too does the person that I lost here. Lewis at Pacers. They're number 10 here. Malcolm Brogdon comes in. Jeremy Lamb comes in. At number 10, it's the Indiana Pacers. So, Jimmy, what do you make of this team?
Look, I love Indiana. I love what they did. If you guys have been watching Chat Sports
You're
here lately,
all aboard.
you know that I'm all in on this Oladipo and Malcolm Brogdon backcourt. I think it was great signing. Obviously, they had to replace Bojan Bogdanovic. They had to replace Thaddeus Young, which they didn't do, but they brought in Jeremy Lamb, who I think really bolsters that bench. If you want to say they replaced Thaddeus Young, you can say Goga Bitadze. If he steps in, he is an excellent backup big man. That's great for them. They brought in TJ Warren, who I guess technically replaced Bogdanovic. Aaron Holiday, they expect to step up big in his second year. I love what the Pacers have going. The biggest issue and the biggest if is, can they stay healthy? Because Brogdon and Oladipo definitely have some health concerns that need to be addressed.
I am very curious how that big man duo of Sabonis and Miles Turner fits together. But look, they won 48 games last year. I think they're a better team, so why not 50 or more?
Yeah, and you got to remember, Oladipo was out for that whole back half of the year. I think even longer than back half, if I'm not mistaken. So, love what Indiana did. Got to keep him healthy.
So that was a run of Eastern Conference teams, but let's get into the Western Conference. And there's a run of them right here because it's the West. That's where most of the talent is. Really, for me, Jimmy, the top 9, I think are all at minimum conference finals contenders and even really NBA finals threats if things go correct.
Yeah, look, Portland, I will say this. If I had to say a sleeper team that could take a step back, I think it could be Portland. Because you do look at what they lost. Al-Farouq Amino became an important part to their rotation.
I'm worried about that defense.
Seth Curry became an important part of the rotation. Enes Kanter near the end became important for them. Mo Harkless was a valuable piece. Evan Turner early on. That's 5 role players for the Blazers that are now gone. Now, of course, they did bring in Whiteside and Hazonia, and they have their core back. The next step for them is getting Yusuf Nurkic healthy, and you see what Nasir Little can be because I actually like that draft pick a lot for them.
The 9-5 range, I'll spoiler alert for you guys, all Western Conference teams, and they are all tightly contested there.
Extremely tightly contested. Now, do I think the Portland Trail Blazers can get back to the Western Conference Finals?
I think that's their
things
ceiling.
go right, but that is their ceiling in my opinion.
Especially in the West. If they were in the East, I'd feel better about them making the NBA Finals, but
me too.
It's the West there. Let's move then to number 8, a team you mentioned there, the Utah Jazz. I like them quite a bit, but I feel better about them as a regular season team than I do in the playoffs, if that makes sense.
No, I agree, because look, the playoffs are always about the stars. It's which big stars are going to step up. Utah has a bunch of fringe all-stars. They don't have any bona fide stars by any means. Conley, great player. Donovan Mitchell, incredible. I love Rudy Gobert. I love Joe Ingles. And I love Bogdanovic. But which one is going to step up big? That is the big question mark when it comes to playoff time. Then they added Moutier to bolster the bench and Ed Davis and Jeff Green. So they definitely got better. But again, I think Western Conference Finals could be their ceiling.
Utah was number 3 in our Western Conference playoff projections, but I could very much see them losing to a team like, be it the 6th seed or whatever. So they end up playing there early on in the playoffs because I don't fully trust them yet. I need to see Mitchell be better there. Great team, no doubt. They can definitely make the Western Conference Finals and even beyond there. But I don't trust them as much as I trust other teams that we've seen have more playoff success in recent years or have players that we've seen have more playoff success.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you.
So number 7 then, the Houston Rockets. Let's see how the Russ Harden duo shapes out because that's a pretty big question mark.
It could blow up. It could be a finals team. I mean, that's literally the two options. I just don't know where they fall. But you got to have them that high because of the talent on paper. I mean, it's ridiculous. The starting 5 is so, I mean, it looks great. Russ, Harden, that's your backcourt. Gordon, Tucker, 2. Obviously, Tucker is an elite defender. Gordon, a good scorer and defender. And then Capella is going to protect the rim for you. You love the starting 5. After that, what do they really have?
And that's the big issue. And I guess starting 5 matters more for the playoffs relative than the regular season.
Yeah,
because you really lean on those starting 5. You do still need some bench, but the star power becomes even more important come postseason time. And for Houston, look, it is all about Russ and Harden. If that works, that's deadly. If they try to kill each other, it's not going to be pretty.
No, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Let's move then to number 6, the Golden State Warriors, who do get a little bit of boost here relative to the regular season because in theory, come playoff time, you're going to have Klay Thompson back. And then all of a sudden, it's still Curry and D'Angelo Russell and Draymond, and then you bring Klay Thompson back. Well, that remains a very potent playoff team.
Yeah, look, regular season, they're not going to be that great. But when they get Klay Thompson back, it's game over again in the final or in the playoffs. They're going to be able to make a push late into it. So we'll see what seed they can get. Can they secure home court? That's going to be a big question mark. I mean, their depth isn't good. It just isn't right now. And the fit of D'Angelo Russell and Steph Curry is super questionable.
And then my biggest question is, who the heck's your three, or your typical small forward? Do you go with just a three-guard lineup? Do you throw McKinney or Glenn Robinson? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't throw Draymond there.
Their regular season is going to have a ton of question marks. But what we know is just completely solid is that duo of Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, and that'll be back come playoff time.
So is the Warriors dynasty over? Type Y for yes, type N for no.
Man, as long as Steph Curry is there, I can't say it's over. I just can't say it's over.
I would have felt better about saying no, and then the Clippers did their moves.
Yeah.
So I am a little curious about that. I'm not going to say it's over yet, because they could still win one more in the next couple of years. But I lean towards it's definitely dying.
It's trending down.
It's trending downward. Let's move then to number 5, the Denver Nuggets, who I like a lot, especially in the regular season. But much like teams like, the Utah Jazz, let's see how that star power actually plays come postseason time.
Yeah, look, their offseason was arguably the quietest of any offseason around the NBA. Now, they traded for Jeremy Grant, which I think a lot of people really liked that move very quietly. But overall, you got to make sure Jamal Murray's going to hit it when it comes playoff time, and you got to make sure Nikola Jokic is healthy come playoff time, and he's like better conditioned.
Paul Millsap as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I love the Nuggets. Again, regular season team, top 2 in the West, maybe.
I think they're going to win 55 or more.
They really could. But who are they going to play in the first round of the playoffs, and how far are they going to go is going to be the question mark for
There
them.
just are some other Western Conference teams I feel a lot more comfortable about saying, yeah, this team is a better championship threat than Denver. Let's get into our number 2 Eastern Conference team, the Philadelphia 76ers at number 4.
I mean, you can't count him out. Ben Simmons, even though he can't shoot, he's
hate
still a
Ben
great
Simmons.
player, but he's still good. I'll still give him his love there. Joel Embiid is one of the most dominant centers in the game right now. He can do anything. And they bring back Tobias Harris, who, look, he scored 20 points per game last year as the fourth option. What is he going to do now as the third, sometimes second option on this Philadelphia team? And then you bring in Al Horford. So it's like, who's going to guard Horford and Embiid? They're going to be tough to play. Again, depth is a question mark for Philadelphia, though.
Playing in the Eastern Conference definitely helps the Sixers' chances because the path here is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
They don't have to face the Sixers, or they don't face the Nuggets, the Warriors, Rockets, Jazz all as often, or even in the playoffs. They get to face off against the Pacers, Celtics, Nets, which are good teams, but nowhere near as quality as those, as you can see in our rankings here. So who will win the Eastern Conference? Let us know in the comments section. We haven't gotten to our number 1 pick, so I'm sure we'll see plenty of that in the comments section. But let us know who you think will win the Eastern Conference. Of course, if you already watched our Eastern Conference playoff projections, you saw that it was the Bucks at number 1.
Yeah.
I see some Sixers, Philly, Philadelphia has no bench, Bucks, Philly, Heat, Bulls, that's a bold one there. Lots of Milwaukee, stay tuned for them. Let's move then to number 3, and I will use this point to remind everybody as well, by the way. This is most likely to win the title, power rankings, not regular season power rankings. That's why you see differences in terms of teams that are going to be better in the regular season, or like the Lakers, who are probably not going to be as good of a regular season threat as they will come playoff time, when LeBron and Anthony Davis will actually be playing in every single game.
Exactly.
That's not going to be the case in the regular season, but come playoff time, where we know star power matters, LeBron and AD, that's the best duo in the NBA.
Yeah, look, they're going to be ready to go. And that's what Lakers fans want to see, is that star duo show up when it matters. And the only time it really matters is when it comes to the playoffs. Because you can rest LeBron some nights in the regular season and still be okay. You can rest AD in the regular season and still be okay. Come playoff time, there's no rest. They're going to be ready to go, and that's why you got to have them as high as number 3 right now.
People are big mad at me for the Lakers having them too high and simultaneously too low. I love it. It's perfect.
You can't win. You just can't win.
Either they're wildly wrong, or maybe that actually is just about right for the LA Lakers. By the way, if you are an LA fan there, head over to youtube.com/LakersTV. That is our Lakers only channel there. So go subscribe. And again, I'll remind everybody here, for the Western Conference, it was incredibly tight last year. There was very little difference between the 2 seed and let's just go to the 6 seed, was 5 games.
Yeah, it's
it was
ridiculous.
6 games between the 8 and the 2 seed. So again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's going to be tight. And the load management, which doesn't matter for the playoffs, will impact the Lakers in the regular season, a little bit less so in the postseason. Let's move then to number 2 as I continue to get berated in the comment section. I love you guys. You're awesome. Number 2, the Milwaukee Bucks. The Eastern Conference, I think it's fair to call them the favorites.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look, you got the MVP on your team. That's all that matters. If Giannis stays healthy, which he's never had problems with that before, then they're going to be just fine. Now, you need Eric Bledsoe when it comes to playoff time to actually step up. He had a horrible playoff run. Chris Middleton needs to hit the big shots. He didn't do great in the playoffs, but regular season, Chris Middleton was an all-star. Brook Lopez, great re-signing for them. The biggest question mark is what about that 5th spot in the lineup? Because Ersan Ilyasova, I just don't think he's going to cut it come playoff time. So maybe they throw in a George Hill. Maybe they throw in a Wesley Matthews. Maybe you go DJ Wilson, who they expect to step up big this next season.
Wasn't great in the summer league.
Yeah, so
It's weird.
a lot of question marks for the Milwaukee Bucks when it comes to that 5th spot.
But Giannis.
But when you have Giannis plus the 3 other great players that they have in that lineup, they're going to be
And
just
you
fine.
won 60 games last year. They're deserving there of a top
Yeah.
2 spot. But at number 1, the LA Clippers. A great offseason. You get Kawhi and you get Paul George. And oh, by the way, your bench and your supporting cast is still absolutely incredible.
You still have the 2 6-man of the year candidates, and one of them actually ended up winning it in Lou Williams. They didn't suffer any depth. Like, I've seen people say, oh, they gave up some depth. No, they didn't. They kept
No, Gallinari.
Gallinari and Wilson Chandler. So freaking what? They got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They still have Patrick Beverly in that starting 5. Nobody's going to score on the Clippers. Nobody's going to be able to get past that defense. Plus, they're going to be able to get it done on the offensive end. So, you gotta love what the Clippers did. There should be no argument. I think they are.
Oh, there
the clear
definitely
number one.
definitely will be. Shout out.
I know
after-
there will be.
There are comments about the Clippers bench, which just doesn't make sense to me. You have 2 of the final 3 for 6 men of the year.
And JaMychal Green is a good player. I like him a lot. Like, they did some really good stuff.
All right.
But give them the credit.
Fire your hate at us. What team should be number 1 in our NBA power rankings? We're in agreement on the Clippers, of
Yeah,
course.
we are.
Producer Tad's gone full homer, says you want the Heat up there. I don't even know what he's saying right now. But I think it's the Clippers.
I think it is too. I think you can make the argument for the Bucks.
Tommy H says
But-
the Lakers in there. Trent says Utah. Locker room says Lakers. Philly, Lakers, Clippers, Hornets. Okay, now I know you're trolling right there. That just doesn't make any sense. All right, then let's rapid fire here. In case you missed it, recap our NBA power rankings again. A focus less on the regular season, more on chances to actually win the title. Hornets, Cavs, Wizards, Grizzlies, and Thunder. Then it is the Hawks, the Suns, the Bulls, the Knicks, and the Timberwolves. The Pelicans, Pistons, Kings, Magic, and then the Mavericks inside the top 20. Then it's the Spurs, Raptors, Heat, Nets, and Celtics. At number 10, the Indiana Pacers. The Trailblazers at number 9. The Utah Jazz at 8. And again, 9 through 3. There's really not that much of a difference. Jazz, Rockets, Warriors. Denver checks in at number 5. The Sixers at 4. The Lakers at 3, which nobody likes apparently. Number 2, the Bucks. And number 1, the LA Clippers.